And of course, as always, I have the hardcore crew here with me. First, he is my sidekick. He's my partner. He is the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, welcome to Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Thank you very much for having me back.
As always, we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know what, guys? There's a few things I want to get going to talking about. The first one that really has been one of the main stories over the internet was TNA's injunction storyline with, I guess you can call him the former champion, Matt Hardy, and the other champion, which is EC3. Apparently what had happened was Matt Hardy won the title at this past Bound for Glory this week, and the storyline is that EC3 felt that he was being treated unfair. It was an unfair situation, so he got a legal team to file this injunction where Matt Hardy had to either A, drop the title give the title back to EC3, and that match had never happened. It was completely abolished from the records, or Matt Hardy could never return to the company. Matt Hardy posted this video, which is over on our chat room, facebook.com/HWR chat room, and he pretty much just said that, he feels the best thing for TNA is to give it up. Andy, you and I were talking about this before the show, and I just need to hear your thoughts.
It's a shame Joe's not around to answer it from an insider's point of view, but I don't see how we could get an injunction off anybody, any court in any country, for a predetermined match. It's not as though they're fighting and the real winner wins. So he knew before the match had even started that he was going to lose. So I just think it's a TNA lame-ass publicity stunt. They got both the Hardys in just to uprate their figures, make their pay-per-view look a bit more viewable, and get the fans really excited when Matt Hardy wins, pretty much like the WWE have done in the past, and then say, hold on a minute, such and such a body, it was a bad count on the referee's part, we've got to take the belt off you. That's basically what they've done by using solicitors. I'd like to see the court papers or name the solicitor that supposedly said he's got a valid case, because I think it would be a joke.
Yeah, I absolutely have to agree with you. Lance, right now, as Matt Hardy dropped the title, is this him heading to the WWE, which has been strongly suspected, or do you think he's going to get the title back so now he can call himself a two-time world champion?
Well, it's like this. It's strongly suggested because it's probably going to happen. I see at either Mania or TLC it being the Dudley Boys, the New Day, and the Hardy Boys. So it's basically him saying, Vince, I'm coming home. Dudley Boys.
And that's a very strong possibility. It hasn't been confirmed yet. This is just strictly our thoughts, and it's really a. Oh, hold on 1 second. I believe we have a message over on our Skype channel, and. Well, okay. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about another issue with TNA that's just recently kind of gotten under everybody's skin. Over the past week, Dixie Carter's been, screaming to the hills, I have a major announcement. I have a major announcement. And this major announcement is they're going to India.
But is that the major announcement? Is the swerve the major announcement that we've just spoke about? Even WWE have said they're making a major announcement, and then 3 days later, oh, that wasn't the announcement. This is.
Well, you know what? When WWE says they have a major announcement, usually it's much more credible. If you look at the history of TNA and their major announcements, they haven't really been that big. And the ones that they were pretty big, I mean, I'll use one as an example. When they were using the X Division title, and they said, we have a new major announcement. The X Division title is going to have a new stipulations where they had to have, 3 people in the ring at the same time. and that didn't last long. Then they changed it again with another major announcement saying that the X Division is pretty much their glorified lightweight, where they have to be a certain weight under, I forget what the weight was. I think it was like maybe 185 or less. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, if you're listening. And that didn't last. Dixie Carter has always made these announcements, and they've either been insignificant or they've changed. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Andy, your thoughts?
No, I mean, they had the weight limit dropped when they started putting people in like Samoa Joe. I mean, the X Division now, I think even Big Show, if he was fighting for them, could go and fight for the X Division. It doesn't mean shit anymore. I mean, to be perfectly honest, TNA shouldn't be making major announcements. They've got nothing major to boast about or talk about. They need to get the product sorted. That's what their main goal is. They need to get themselves out there a bit more. Instead of messing around with shitty 2-bit companies, I think the best thing they can do is try and do their own network where they don't have to worry about production companies and whatever. Yet they run it themselves. Yeah,
I have to agree with you, and it's another one of the things that's hurting the company as a whole. I want to move over to WWE or a WWE wrestler, Daniel Bryan. Now we know that he's been out several times due to injuries. He came back and then he got injured again. Some speculate it was a concussion. Andy, you tend to disagree, and you think it's a shoulder and neck injury. For the record, Daniel Bryan did go on and speak candidly, saying that he's going to see a third doctor, or a third neurologist for that matter. The private neurologist that he went to see gave him a clean bill of health. Meanwhile, the doctors inside the WWE are saying, no, you know what, we're not ready to bring you back. We don't feel you're clear. So he's trying to get a third opinion. So most wrestlers just need a second opinion. He needs that third because it's that delicate of a situation. Andy, what do you think's going to happen? Do you really see Daniel Bryan coming back, or is this his last chance?
It's WWE's of bending him over and giving him one up the arse. That's my honest opinion. Even if he is fit to wrestle, WWE can look for any excuse for him not to, because he's not their chosen boy.
Well, you know, the sad thing is he may not be the chosen boy, but the fans have chosen him. Every time he comes out of the ring, whether he's wrestling or not, there's a huge pops. And I think the WWE honestly recognizes that. Whether they are doing it, as you say, because they're not their golden boy, or because he's injury prone could also be it. WWE, if this was 10, 15 years ago, they wouldn't give a shit. As time has come on, they've become a lot more politically correct. Lynch, your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling if they basically turn him down and make where Daniel Bryan can't wrestle for on WWE anymore, Daniel Bryan will be dead, and the American Dragon Bryan Danielson will come back, because he even said in that thing, if he can't wrestle for WWE, would he go to the Indies again? Absolutely.
But how would that work? I mean, again, it's a shame Joe's not here, but I'm sure any person who runs a wrestling company is not going to take Daniel Bryan with 2 strikes against his name. 2 separate doctors have said you're not fit to wrestle.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you.
No company on the planet, really.
You know what? I have to disagree with you.
That risk.
We've talked several times on the show about wrestling, about indie marks who will take any kind of talent they can just to get them on the show. You know, look at somebody. Let's look at Scott Hall. Scott Hall one time was literally wheeled in a wheelchair to a promotion just to be on the show, even though he had just gotten out. He had injuries. He had drug issues. They didn't care because they know he's a draw. Daniel Bryan is still a major draw in the company. Now, let's say hypothetically he says, you know what? I want to wrestle. I can't wrestle for you guys, so I'm leaving. He goes into the indies. Despite his injuries, he may have to sign a waiver, but make no mistake, I'll guarantee you at least between 5 or 10 different wrestling indie companies would take him just on his name alone.
Even if Vince says, yeah, you can wrestle, but you can't use Daniel Bryan, shit, he's already has a well-established alternative name.
Exactly, and you know,
All I can say is the laws must be different in America than they are in the UK, because anyone who has a group of people doing a particular thing, i.e., everyone knows I run a paranormal team, I have to have what's called public liability insurance. Everybody has to take a medical. Everybody has to have a security background check to make sure that they've not got a criminal past. That's not for me. That's nothing at all to do with me. That's the law.
well, again, that's in the UK.
Daniel Bryan, if he's got a medical condition, whether I wanted him to come and work for my company or not, the insurance company that I'm insured with would say, I don't think so.
No.
So there must be a difference in the law in America. I know all about the Jake the Snake Roberts incident and the Scott Hall. They are the most watched videos on my YouTube channel, so I fully understand them, but they weren't actually done on like medical grounds. Anybody can come to a wrestling organisation pissed up. It's not a law, it's not a crime to be drunk. It's a crime to drive a car if you've got heart condition. I would assume it's also a crime to wrestle when you've got an head condition.
Well, again, like I said, I don't know exactly how it all works. I'm sure that he has to sign a waiver. If Joe, our classic wrestling manager, was here, I'm guessing he's out doing other things at the moment. I'm sure he would either kill or confirm that, but I'm pretty sure you just need to sign. He would have to sign that waiver. Let's move on, guys. Earlier this week, there was a report or a rumor from Ric Flair saying that Austin would boycott WrestleMania 32 if P.S. Michael Hayes was not inducted this year. Now, the Stone Cold came online and tweeted and said it was 100% bullshit, the end. Over the past couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of rumors with Austin, in which Austin's just been shooting down. Andy, what do you think? Why do you think this is? Why do you think everybody's making all these rumors on Austin so far?
I don't know why anyone would say, whether it's Ric Flair or anybody, that as though it makes a difference because Austin said it's got to happen. Why everyone's in the impression that Mr. PSAs should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Not now, because he's still working for the WWE. I think they should wait until he's not working for them anymore and then induct him in the WWE Hall of Fame. But why he's currently... I think any person, it's hypocritical for the WWE to put anybody in the Hall of Fame that's still currently working for them.
And
that's my personal opinion.
And that is a valid point. But here's something else that I want to point out. P.S. Michael Hayes, several years ago, made racist comments inside the WWE. He made one to Mark Henry, and he also made a racist comment to a creative writer who was fired. Now,
I have never been a fan of Freebird's Michael PSAs. I've never rated the guy. That's my personal opinion. I even don't think he deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, apart from people know he is.
Well, his legacy is rather big. And I followed him with the Von Erichs, and that was his real big shining was when he was in World Class Championship Wrestling, and that was back in the early '80s, maybe even late '70s. When he came over to WWE, he didn't really have the flair as he did now. He came more as a commentator, and now he's writing. Now he's a booker / creative writer, and. Nobody here really condones any kind of racial remarks, but they erased Hulk Hogan right because of those racial remarks.
And they're slowly adding him back.
They are?
Yes.
Okay, and I have not yet read anything on that. I understand that he's going on a episode with Ric Flair where he's pretty much going to speak out about the whole situation. But that is an interesting note. Let's move on to something else. CM Punk recently called out sarcoma breast cancer, which right now the WWE is sponsoring. Now, I didn't even hear about. I didn't even know about any of the issues with Coleman breast cancer until CM Punk pretty much was bashing them on Twitter, pretty much saying if you're going to give money to a company that claims to raise money for fundings for a cure of cancer, please do some research. Coleman is a scam. Now, I did my research a little bit to find out exactly what he meant. I don't take anybody's word. I have to look back and check things on my own. And here's a fact. Back in 2012, Sarah Coleman breast cancer was ridiculed for taking fundings away from Planned Parenthood, which was another viable charity which was helping parents, obviously, who didn't have money to, become, women who were pregnant, to help them along with that process. So, I found that rather, despicable. Granted, that was 3 or 4 years ago, and they did apologize and did say it wasn't intended, blah 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 blah, and they are no longer going to be, stopping them from getting those fundings. Andy, your thoughts?
I've worked with. I can only speak for charities in the United Kingdom. I can't speak for any charity in America, but I've worked with a couple of charities in the United Kingdom over a 10-year period, and I wouldn't work for a charity now if it was the last thing on earth. They're all, in my opinion, everyone I've worked for, and they're all reputable companies in the UK, they're all crooks. Every one of them.
Wow. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, of course, WWE and Susan G. Komen are probably going to deny this if they even decide to react to it. But, well, Punk likes dropping them pipe bombs, and most of the time they tend to tell the truth. So I don't see a reason not to believe him, because, like Andy said, they're mostly crooks.
Yeah, one thing you have to take into consideration, now this is something for the listeners, if you think that probably CM Punks are feeling a bit bitter, and what I've just said to you is feeling a bit bitter, I don't think I'm certainly not bitter in any way, shape or form, but I'll just give you something to think about. Ebola. We all know what Ebola is, that dreaded, horrible disease that was going round last year. Within 9 months, they found a cure. Cancer's been going forever and a day. Have they found a cure? No. Where's all the money going? Think about it.
And you know what? That is a viable point. And, it just shows that I've never really followed a lot of charities, so I can't speak for them. I've never been a part of them. So, again, I only go by what I read. I've done a little bit of research. And like you said, Andy, in the medical field, it's probably one of the most profitable industries there is. And yet, like you said, things like cancer have not been able to, get a grasp on. So
they have billions of dollars every year for, like, cancer research. And they're still no further forward than they were when your grandmother and grandfather were on the planet. That says it all to me. That they've got cures, they know how to cure it. But why cure it? It's the biggest way of depopulating the planet.
Wow. I didn't think about it that way. And I want to move on to another topic. As we all know, Cesaro has yet to be getting that push. He's kind of right there on the brink, but he's never gotten over the top. And this past weekend, for those of you who don't know, I did see Mick Foley live. And when I asked him if anybody should be pushed in the mid-cards who's underrated, the first person he mentioned was Cesaro. He said Cesaro is a great worker. He has pretty much the ability and the fan base, to get over. The fans have been doing that, showing those old, Cesaro section, and he really thinks that the WWE is just not paying attention. But I've been reading some rumors, again, these are unconfirmed, that there were some backstage issues with Cesaro, which is why WWE is not pushing him. And I've tried to read to find out anything else. I can't find anything else aside from just that backstage issues. So at this point in time, I'm just considering that a rumor. Andy, your thoughts? Do you think Cesaro should get pushed or not?
From day one when he's come in, I thought he should have been pushed, and for some unknown reason, he's a bit like Drew McIntyre, whatever his name is. He got a massive push, and then where is he these days? I mean, he's in the Independents now, Drew McIntyre is.
Yeah, he's TNA for that matter, but the same thing.
Yeah, but I see Cesaro going the same way. He's stuck in the mid-card when he's actually on. I mean, you don't see him that often. I mean, I've seen that joke thing that Mick Foley posted, that this person's Superman missing. Have you seen this guy? And that's what it's like. I can't remember the last time I actually saw him on TV.
I think I've seen him on TV a couple of weeks ago, and I think back then, of course, he was sporting the injury, whether it was kayfabe or legit. He'd been working. They said that he'd been working through an injury. So whether he's out on injury or whether he has issues, right now for me, I think it's I'm a little bit tossed up between the two because the injuries were never officially reported. There was never confirmed or killed what was kayfabe or not. So you really got to think about that one. Lance, your thoughts?
He should be, but he's kind of doomed because Vince is not huge on him. We learned this from the Vince Stone Cold podcast. Remember? Let's face it. Vince thinks he does not have it.
Yeah,
which means Vince thinks he ain't shit.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a very valuable point. If Vince McMahon is not over on somebody, regardless whether they're good or not, they can be great, and if he's not over on them, they're not going to get anywhere. Just the opposite. If somebody sucks and Vince really likes him and he's on top, you're in his. You know what? No, I understand you're a Cena hitter.
I'm just playing. Actually.
Okay, but anyways, regardless, you have to be in his pocket. If you're not in his pocket, forget it. And again, I want to talk a little bit more about what I saw about Mick Foley. He actually talked about a couple of things. He jokingly said how people think wrestling's fake. And he said, well, he talked about a bump he had to take when he was working with Terry Funk, where he was going to be power bombed on the cement, and he was considering taking that. And he said, well, wrestling may be fake, but I can guarantee you the will I wrote 3 hours before was 100% real. And he said, it was very interesting. Another thing that was enlightening is when he talked, of course, about his legendary Hell in a Cell match. And, obviously the first time he got thrown off the cage and they brought him back and everybody thought that the match was going to be over. And he said, nope, adrenaline kind of kicked in. I went in and I went back up and everybody was like, what the hell are you doing? He went back up and, of course, he eventually got choke slammed through the cage, which did collapse. And I guess the Undertaker, Terry Funk came in to try to buy time and this and that and, check this, I guess Undertaker truly said this, whispered in Funk's ear. He goes, make sure he's still breathing. And I heard that, and I could not stop laughing. So these are just a few of the moments that I got to listen with Mick Foley. For those of you who want to hear more of it, we do have that we have the full interview or the full performance, which was in Sandwich, Massachusetts, on our Facebook page and in our chat room. That's HWR chat room at Facebook in our group. Please feel free to join us. We want you to say what you want, how you want. But right now, we are going to wrap things up. And we want to know what you guys think about all these topics. What do you think about the Injunction storyline? What do you think about Daniel Bryan if he really has that chance to come back? Please put your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you follow us over at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio and the HWR chat room. And also, take that few moments and hit that subscribe button. So, if you have any negative comments, positive or negative, please feel free to make them. We love the haters. We embrace the hate. And now I'd like to thank Andy for coming on. Andy, where can everybody find you and what do you got coming up?
Yeah, you can find me at www.stokehaunted.com. And at the moment, I've got nothing due until Halloween night. So I've got 3 weeks off, I think. Things can change.
And, of course, we have the incomparable Lance Moss. He's over at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. I can't even speak tonight. Lance, what do you got coming up?
Well, tomorrow I have Lance Moss TV and Friends. It's in just under 23, or just over 23 hours at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 Eastern. And yeah, y'all know what I got going on over there. And subscribe subscribe on YouTube, and hit me up on Twitter. It's @LancePongTV.
All right, and as everybody for everybody here, I want to thank you for joining, and I'm your hardcore host Rickhead, saying we'll see you when we see you, and